Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the Red Box. We're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about the Red Box Warrior is a woman. The Red Box Warrior is a woman. The Red Box Warrior is a woman, and in my humble opinion, that is 100% canon, and that is important. Why? Because I'm going to collect my I done told you people. I done told you. I done told you, right? And I was 100% right check. Right? I've been saying on this channel for a while, you don't know what Dungeons & Dragons canon is. Dungeons & Dragons canon is the most complicated, fundamentally complicated subject in the world, bar none. Right? And so right now, okay, let's talk about the canon influences of the Dungeons & Dragons Red Box set. Okay? Let's talk it through. Okay? 1983, Frank Mentzer, right? He drops the 1983 basic starter set box, and it has a red dragon on the cover and the Red Box Warrior. The Red Box Warrior painted on the cover, okay? Now, first of all, I knew this. Okay. So that happens in 1983. In 2024, Hasbro licenses the Red Box Warrior to WizKids, and WizKids makes a miniature out of it, and they lady up the Red Box Warrior, and they say, hey, this is canon, right? Take a look, right? This is the Red Box. This is the warrior from the Red Box. We're showing you the picture. Here it goes. She's a lady, right? She's a lady. Lady woman, here you go. Shown, right? And everybody looks and goes, oh, the Red Box Warrior is a lady, right? Now, the second this happened, right? The second this happened, I knew Larry Elmore was going to roll up on Twitter, or where. Actually, he ain't going to come on. He didn't come up on Twitter, right? Larry Elmore went wherever an 80-year-old dude who doesn't have the slightest clue what social media is, rolls up and said, it's a dude, right? I knew he would do it. How do I know? Because every single old person in the world is conservative, right? Like you grow old, you become conservative, you vote MAGA, done. Right? And you could see this with Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, right? They're just they're shaking their fist at Hasbro. How dare you guys give me a check and make me relevant? I don't like it. Any old person, you put a new thing in front of them, they're gonna hate it, right? And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm 54 years old, and I'm fighting hard to not do this, right? Because I'll tell you right now, if you say what people expect you to say every single time there's an important question, your words don't matter. If you say what nobody needed to ask you because they already knew what you were gonna say because of your age and other attributes, then your words don't matter. Your words don't matter, right? So I already knew Larry Elmore was gonna get up there and actually, I'm not gonna say that Larry Elmore said this. I'm gonna say that Dano, the guy who hangs out with Joe Manganiello, who's getting old and now complaining about D&D. It's like a formula, right? Old grognard means old complainer, right? It's astounding to me how dude, if you have an opinion and everybody knows what you think before they ask you, don't even say it. There's no point. Right? Because they're you're not saying that's a dude because you're Larry Elmore and you stop to think about it. You're just an old crusty person who complains, right? Which is old person, right? It's so frustrating, right? So Larry Elmore years ago said this is a dude because he must have been asked, right? According to everything I've seen on Twitter, 2 different sources on Twitter are saying that Larry Elmore has already said that this is a dude, right? Now my issue is, who cares what he has to say? He's an artist on D&D, right? Do you know where that is in the hierarchy of canon? And actually, we do care what he has to say, but let's get the hierarchy. So now we got to break out the hierarchy chart. Who determines canon? I'm going to explain it to you, okay? D&D architect. We got 2 of them right now, right? They're both white men, which is the only person who's ever been allowed to be a D&D lead, a D&D architect. Only middle-aged white men have been allowed to ever hold this job. No person of color has ever held it, and absolutely no female. Anybody who's not a male has held this, right? Like, so, and that's Jeremy Crawford and Christopher Perkins, right? They are actually the top of D&D canon right now, okay? Next is a senior designer, Mackenzie DeArmas, Amanda Heyman, okay? Next is just a designer, right? I think especially Schneider might be there, right? Next, after that, for determining canon, then is your artist. They are 4th in line, right? And here's the issue. Larry Elmore saying this is a dude, I'm like, no, you don't get to claim that. You didn't do it, right? You drew the back of a warrior. If you wanted to make it clear that it was a man, you could have done exactly what you could have done. And actually, that's just it. Larry Elmore said, right, that Gary Gygax said the important thing is that there is, I don't know, he's like, we don't need to define this. They left it undefined, right? Like, and Larry Elmore could have painted and could have went and established the canon he wanted, right? But he drew somebody's back. That's not enough to establish gender. That's not enough to establish gender, right? So he's claiming canon he never achieved, okay? All right, next. The reason we're talking today is what's really astounding is a commenter came on, and actually there were 2 commenters. One was after the other, but the first commenter was like, Scott, there's a actual action figure of this, right? I thought, nah, that can't be, man. There can't be an action figure. There cannot possibly be an action figure of the Redbox Warrior that I've never even seen. There is an action figure of the Redbox Warrior I have never even seen. Why is that? Because Dungeons and Dragons is off the his house chain, man. This thing is freaking unleashed. There's so much licensed tie-ins that are being created that that Hasbro can't even keep them all straight, right? So there is an action figure that clearly shows that this is a dude. I think he literally has a mustache, right? Now, the action figure is very mid. It is not good. It's made by Super 7, in my humble opinion. Made by Super 7 Reaction, right? And the reality is, why is that, and they call him the Formidable Fighter, right? But it's got the cover right on the card, right? Like, you know, the old Star Wars cards, right? It's pretty astounding, right? So why is that? Because Super 7 and Reaction don't know what the heck they're doing. They don't know what the license is that they bought. Now, this happens all the time in Hollywood, right? People are like, hey, I'd like to buy, you know, your license and then change everything and ignore the source material, right? That's exactly what Super 7 did, right? Now, the fact is, why isn't what they made first canon? Because it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. So we just talked about what's the hierarchy, okay? It's D&D architect, D&D senior designer, D&D designer, D&D artist. They're 4th in line. But over all of them, as an umbrella, over all of them is you and me. We get to come in and say, you guys put the red ampersand on this. You said this was canon. We say it's not. And how do we say it's not? By irrelevance, right? The D&D Rick and Morty box set. Is that canon? I don't think so. That thing has been completely forgotten, right? It's sitting on my shelf, right? I use the D&D screen out of it, right? But the reality is, no, I've literally never seen this run at any convention. I've never seen it in the wild, and there are very few APs of it. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. And so it dropped out of canon. Same thing here. Super 7 did the Formidable Fighter as a man, but it doesn't count as canon. The reason why this counts as canon is the architects, right? Oh, and actually I should say, Hasbro executives, they're in there too. The Hasbro executives said, hey, Hasbro, you know, here you go, WizKids, do it up. And WizKids is like, hey, Red Box Warrior is a woman. Red Box Warrior is a woman. Red Box Warrior is a woman. By canon, she is a woman. And the reason why is this was relevant. This made national news. There was no news when Super 7 plopped out this useless, forgettable, quite official figure. But the reality is, it's done. It's done. The debate's over, right? Like they could not establish relevancy, and that means you have an established canon, right? You got to get it through everybody. You got to get it through Hasbro executives. You got to get it through the D&D architects. You have to get it through the D&D senior designers. You have to get it through the D&D designers. You have to get it through the artists, right? And the reality is, if there's any disagreement among any and all of that, it's the D&D architects who decide, right? And then they can be vetoed. They can be vetoed by you and me, right? And I will say right now, this discussion we're having right now, this may change it. There may be, but actually I already know. You OSR grognards aren't going to win. You know why? Because half of you are dead and the other half of you are dying, right? Like, and you don't have the energy to fight people who actually care about new D&D, which there's new of every single day, and they're coming in with a lot of energy and excitement. All you guys are coming in is wrinkles and complaints, right? So this is decided, in my humble opinion. Red Box Warrior is a woman, period, end of sentence. Actually, I'm not going to say conversation's over, because I am enjoying this conversation, and we might talk about this more. But Red Box Warrior is a woman. It's done. Call it a wrap. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.